Very good evening to all of you. Welcome to another edition of looking at caregiving in print and pictures. Caregiver Saathi is a venture that aims to shine the light on family caregivers, especially those that are navigating terminal illness, incurable conditions, or any other life-limiting conditions that can be difficult to understand. If you look at our text and if you look at our films, you will find caregiving is presented in a certain tone and with a certain emphasis. We have seen that the nature of caregiving has changed and shifted in our society over a period of time. We also how we present it and how we look at understanding the stories behind caregivers and caregiving through the books that we read and the films that we see can strongly inform the narratives that we have in terms of expectations, in terms of what is right, in terms of what must be done, etc. We do believe that the modern world and the contemporary times requires a relook at who is a good caregiver. What does caregiving entail? And there are a world of new challenges as far as caregivers and caregiving is concerned. Through these series, we explore the worlds of caregivers and caregiving as represented by some people who have been extremely brave in telling their story and putting themselves out there for us. Today, we have one such conversation, which is around depression and bonding, a father's journey. I am going to take a little while to tell you about Caregiver Saathi. Caregiver Saathi aims to empower family caregivers by creating an ecosystem of well-being and healing for the primary caregiver. Family caregivers of those navigating terminal illness, chronic, or any other life-limiting condition have unique challenges, and we would like to support them through their caregiving journeys and beyond. How do we do this? Through awareness programs, that is webinars, our sessions with healers or doctors, conversations with caregivers who we fondly call gentle warriors. We also do this through our helpline, which caregivers can reach out to have, to seek information, to be able to vent and to be able to express themselves. We have support groups by means of healing circles, which are sessions not just for active caregivers, but for those who may want to understand, explore, and cope with love and loss. We have a research arm through which we share articles that can help make the life of a caregiver easier or at least more informed. And finally, through social media, being able to clarify, create awareness, and advocate for the cause of the caregiver. There's a variety of resources that we have built, which include a website and an app, capacity building education programs that are run both online and offline, community sensitization through podcasts, through daily communication, and our social media presence, caregiver coaching and family counseling to help caregivers navigate the emotional roller coaster that caregiving can come with, and finally, a volunteer base that helps support caregivers during their journey. There are many ways in which you can be involved, whether it is conversations, whether it is spreading the word through volunteering, partnering with us, as well as working with us, either as an intern or a fellow. You could also join groups, whether or not you're a caregiver today, you could be one tomorrow, or you would certainly be a well-wisher of a caregiver. You could help us raise funds, you could help us build collaborative networks, And you could support our research initiatives as well as be certified as a caregiver Saathi. For the session today, we will have a brief introduction with the author of the book, Ravi Krishnaswami, who also interestingly happens to be from my alma mater, XLRI, and I'm delighted that, we have him tell his poignant and rather personal story and share with us what we can learn from him. We will have a question answer session and we will look to your feedback and suggestions for how we can make these sessions better. Some logistics and housekeeping announcements. Please keep your side of this Zoom room on mute. Should you have questions, use the chat box. If your camera is not stable, please don't turn it on. When you do ask a question, we will invite you and you can ask your question. For your information, we are live on all social media, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and you can access this conversation later as well as recommend it to your friends and family. I'll repeat, give us your feedback on the webinar, and we will refer to this conversation, your inputs for designing further programs. A brief introduction to Ravi. Ravi is an alumnus of XLRI Jamshedpur, currently the president of Youth Empowerment Foundation, an NGO based in Bangalore. He has over 2.5 decades of rich experience in leading Indian companies and multinational companies like IOB, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, DSJ Group, Littlewoods, Airtel, etc., where he has worked in a variety of senior positions. He also had an extremely successful and fulfilling stints as Director Corporate Affairs in leading engineering and MBA institutions like CMRIT and MVJCE for over 12 years. Ravi is a published author and has written articles in leading journals. In addition, he's a senior mentor and coach at Landmark. We know many of our community members are involved with Landmark, so you may know of Ravi through those forums. He takes keen interest in mental health, and during late November 2021, Ravi was invited by IIM Bangalore to deliver an online presentation to their faculty, research staff, and students on the subject of mental health, helping oneself and others. Ravi has been a visiting and a guest faculty at a variety of business schools in and around Bangalore. It is my absolute delight to welcome Ravi. Welcome, Ravi.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhavana. It's my pleasure to be here this evening at this particular event, which you and your team have put it up so nicely. Wonderful to be around here, and I'd like to welcome and thank all the people who have come here. Today is a weekday evening, Friday evening is not so. It's quite a busy evening for people working, and it's not so easy for them to get away from their work. Still, they have come here, so I'm really delighted and happy that many people are here, and some more people would be joining as and when they're free. So thank you all for coming here. So Bhavana, shall we go? You can ask me the questions.
Yes. So Ravi, would you like to talk to us about what led to this book? And to your book, first tell us about your book and then what led to the.
Yeah. So this is sometime in April 2016, April 4th, 2016. That's when my my beloved daughter, Sushmita, we call her Sush, she passed away. Obviously I was devastated, and for a few days I was living in a kind of a daze. So when she passed away in Hyderabad actually. So when I came back to Bangalore after doing the funeral ceremonies and all those things, I didn't know how to manage myself. And I'm living here alone here in Bangalore. And the loss of my daughter was like a loss of almost everything. I didn't have any purpose in life for a brief while. So one day I was just, sitting in my hall and wondering what to do and all that. A lot of friends used to come and go. And one of my friends said, why don't you write a few lines on your daughter? She said it with a good intention. Maybe it'll take off my mind out of the grief. It's a way of handling grief. So those few lines turned out to become this book. Okay. And as I started writing, my daughter came back to me in every little single line, every word which I wrote. And, somewhere some people have, one or two people who have read this book, they have said, you brought back your daughter to life. I said, yes, I think that's what I did. Except for the last chapter, she's alive everywhere in each page. So that's why, whenever I hold this book, whenever I share this book with anybody, I feel she's around. In fact, when I'm talking to you right now, I feel my daughter is around and she's so happy that she's being talked about. And she's so proud and she's telling, Dad, go ahead, tell all nice things about me. Don't tell the bad things about me. Things like that, She's so full of life, I can imagine her being with me right now in this room as I am conversing with you. So that's how I started writing the book. And that's how she came back to me in almost every page of this book. And
that's rather moving and poignant. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. In fact, I sent it across to a friend of mine to write a foreword. So yeah, he did it. Like people who read it like a foreword, they do give some feedback and all that. And a few things he said, I said I'll incorporate them and all that. Then he said something like, would it to be reviewed in the newspapers and all these things? I said, no, your foreword is enough for me. And then I sent it to another friend. And he said, but this is not, you did not edit it with any professional editors, Ravi, he said. I said, no, I didn't want to edit it with any professional publishers or editors. I wrote it right from my heart. I didn't want to be changed but this is not for commercial purposes.
Mm.
So was it, then he didn't say anything. Then I also told him, I'm not writing this book to get an award, for heaven's sake. This is just an expression of love. That's what I do. Yeah.
Hear you. And for all you know, you're right.
I know the subject of caregiving. I know that's what you mentioned. And, people in distress, people having different types of ailments, terminal illnesses, and also mental health issues and all that. I went through the whole cycle. Not only me, Sushmita's mother, brother, all of us went through this. Her cousin is also there. She also seen Sushmita in one of those moments. Okay, one of those very troubled moments, and all of us been there. But then I'd like Sushmita to be remembered as a very lively, very bubbly and very, very affectionate and adventurous girl. That's what she was right till the end. And and she fought this very bravely. She knew something had affected her and she was trying to get out of it. Yeah.
So Ravi, I totally agree with you. Sushmita is probably here with us today.
Yeah.
And probably having this conversation through you. And how about we start with you introducing us to Sushmita? Tell us who she is. Introduce her to us.
Yeah, I will introduce her. So Sushmita is my only daughter. You will also notice from time to time and speak about Sushmita in present tense. I hope you don't mind it.
Not at all.
She's around all the time with me.
Sure.
Okay. So she's my only daughter. And Yeah, she was born in 1981. She will be 40 this year. She would have crossed 40. Okay. And as a little kid, she was born in Hyderabad. Her early days were spent in Hyderabad. And at one point of time, we moved to Bombay. I think that was the best period of our life. I think we were there for 5 years. So Shush had an early education in Bombay. And from there, we moved again briefly for a while to Madras. And then we moved to Bangalore. That's where she spent her entire teenage life, her early adult life, and her entire school and college. She also worked for a while here with a company called DigiCaptions. And then she did her BA in communicative English, which is more like initially she was very much she wanted to be a journalist and all that. But somewhere halfway down, she said, that's not my interest. Not into print journalism. I'm not going for print journalism and all that kind of thing. I'm more interested in TV was just coming up, anything through TV kind of media and all that. So she did that communicative English, and then she got. Then after doing a BA, she joined a company here, a multinational company, where she worked on content and editing and all that stuff for about 2 years, 2 or 3 years she was, and then she quit the job and she said, I'm going to do MBA. All along I was pestering her to do MBA, and I was telling her, why don't you go and do MBA like me in XLRI? That was her father's dream, and she said, no, I'm not going to go to XLRI. And I'm not going to do MBA at all. She said that also. But then at one point of time, she said, I'd like to do MBA. And I was very happy. So did you apply did you write the exact exam? I asked. She said, no exact and all that stuff. I'm trying for that Hyderabad Indian School of Business, something ISB.
Yeah.
So she went there. She went up to the final interview level and came back disappointed, telling that these people say I don't have sufficient experience. I said, okay, that's a minor thing. And then next year she planned, and then she really prepared well, and she applied for Nanyang Technological University in Singapore and got selected by that. She did her MBA there, PGDM, and she was so happy because the PGDM program at Nanyang had a small package of about 3 months called the exchange. And the exchange program was linked to IIM Bangalore. And she was thrilled. And she told me, look here, without even writing the entrance exam to IIM Bangalore, I've got in here. Isn't it wonderful? I said, you tried all your tricks and you got in here. And she was there for 3 months. IIM Bangalore doing the final exchange program. And then she got a PGM. Around that time, when she was around 25 or 26, of life, she had the whole world in her palms, that kind of a girl she was. But there was something disturbing her. She was living alone in Singapore. I think that the first time she was living alone. And she went some phases of anxiety. We could notice, me and her brother could notice that. And she came back, and then when she came back, she was very disturbed also. I couldn't figure out why, what. She was in the IIM Bangalore hostel. Couldn't really figure out why, what, and what was troubling her. Then she was in a relationship with a guy from Bangalore. He was also kind of connected with media, and he was working with some ad agency or something. So she met him and she went on her college internship there. And this guy was more interested in movies and that kind of thing, relating to make movies and the back office work relating to movies. And and then she was keen on getting married also. They were actually dating for almost 4 years before that. And that's when she told, please go and meet the parents in Coorg and please arrange this. I went to Coorg, I met them, the parents, very nice people, very, very well-to-do people. acres and acres of coffee land and all that. And I was very thrilled, and they were also very courteous and everything, and very, dignified. And they said, yes, but definitely we are okay for my son to marry your daughter. And then as she willed it, we celebrated a very nice wedding in Coorg itself. What I called it as a monsoon wedding, because it happened during monsoon. And she had a great wedding there. And then on my side, I arranged a very nice reception here in Bangalore. All that went off fine. Till then, her life was beautiful. Whatever she wanted, she kind of manifested in her life. But dark days began there, the gloomy period. She was working in Bombay, now called Mumbai at that point of time. There. And she was staying in a place called Hiranandani complex there. She had a flat also organized there so that she could settle in with her husband. And he was doing some cinematography course in Pune and working with some directors in Bombay. So he used to shuttle up and down. And she went and she took all her things and settled down there. That was in June, sometime in July 2007. And neither me nor her brother nor her mother knew what was happening there. We just got her married off and she went to settle down with the husband. But, whenever she would call me up or I would speak with her, there was a trace of sadness in her voice. I was wondering what is happening. And then she said, no. Then I said, okay, maybe she's missing all of us there. She's away from all her parental family and all that. And then in the month of August, I went to Bombay with all her heavy stuff, furniture and all that. So many gifts she got at her wedding. So I went by train taking all the stuff there. And that was the time when I really noticed there was something really amiss about her. So she came it was raining crazily. And when I reached Bombay, Kurla station with all her furniture and everything, and she came there to the station and receive me and take all the stuff home. And from Pune to Bombay, that's Pune to Kurla, I think it took about 2.5 hours. And, she made at least about 15 calls, inquiring which station I was, how I was, what am I bringing. And I was wondering, why is she calling me so often? And finally, when I reached Kurla, she seemed really happy and really, more than happiness, I noticed the relief. I was also wondering how come she came alone to the railway station. Where is the son-in-law? And then she said, no, he's in Pune only, that's fine. So we went back and then she settled down and all, made some dinner for me and all that. But then, I realized something happening there at that point of time. I couldn't really put my finger on that. And then she said, no, he'll come here only on weekends. So everything is fine. And that's what she said. I just kept quiet. But I was a little disturbed why she was so anxious. It was only in the month of September, one day she called me up. I think it was a Sunday. And she said, I want you to come immediately to Bombay and take care of me. I'm completely overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I don't even know whether I'll live through this evening. I said, what do you mean? She said, yeah, I'm now on the 7th floor. I don't know how it will be if I jump off. I was really scared. And that's when I called her mother. And then she was busy entertaining some guests or something. At that time, she had moved to Vizag. And then she herself went. The mother herself went. Next day, she flew down to Bombay. And then from there, she called up. The mother called up. Sushmita's mother called up and told me, she's had a breakdown, a nervous breakdown, and she's in a very bad shape. So I'm here for the next 3 or 4 days. We'll see what we can do. And then she took her to Vizag. And then Sushmita applied for leave and all that. And after a month, after a little bit of some kind of treatment and all that, she came back.
Mm.
And I went to Bombay at that time. I took
Mm.
leave for a few days and I went and stayed with her.
Mm.
That's when I noticed that, things had gone very bad between, in a relationship with the husband. It went so bad that he was actually on the verge of leaving her.
Mm.
And actually he left her.
Mm.
He left her and he didn't tell what the reasons and all that. They were, whatever, then maybe there would have been major incompatibility issues or whatever. So I said, okay, then I came and again talked with his parents, but that didn't work. At that time, again, I spoke with Sushmita's mom, and she said, I think we'll go for an annulment of the marriage. I said, okay, we tried whatever we could. And then the marriage was annulled. And then I spoke to some friends in Capgemini, HR, to see whether we could find a suitable position for her here in Bangalore. Fortunately, there was something available. And Capgemini people were very good. HR were very, very understanding. So she was posted in Bangalore. So she lived with me for about 2008 till 2009 middle. But, this is a period where, she'll be all right for some time and then she'll go into deep depression. So it was all very intermittent. And, there were times when she would flare up at me and a brother. And there were times she would be very quiet, lock herself in the room. It was like that. And, that particular year, it was a very unusual Sushmita I noticed in 2008 because, this girl was so bubbly, so vivacious and so loving. Suddenly had got into a shell. And it was almost as if she didn't have any purpose in life or anything like that. That was a very difficult period, And then once when I was at college, I was working at a college at that time. Yeah, Shimarati. She called me and she said, please come immediately and take me home. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what's happening here. That her office was not too far off from my college. So I drove down, picked her up, took her home. And she was all right. And then she said, I think I need to go and see a psychiatrist. She herself said that. So then we found out a psychiatrist, started giving her treatment and all that. But one thing with these people, after a while, they get suspicious of the psychiatrists themselves. And they don't take the medicines properly. And then she had her own views about the psychiatrist. And she said, I think they need to change it. Change. Same thing happened to the next psychiatrist also. And then she said, I think I need counseling. She herself said that. So I took her for a professional counselor. And she attended 2 sessions and she said, no, this is a waste of time. So again, I brought her back home. All along, she was going to work. But, she was doing whatever she was doing at work. At least she was preoccupied with work. But occasionally, call me and tell me, I'm not able to take it. Please take me back home. I used to do that. And, my son, in the meantime, he finished his engineering and he tried his hand trying to get into merchant navy. So he went to Bombay. So it was only Sushmita and me in Bangalore at that time. And of course, we had mates coming and going. So at that time, it was a very rough kind of a relationship with her. She would barely talk with me and she was not interested in anything, not even normal, simple conversations. This went on for some time. Then she used to go and visit her mother every now and then for some festival or other, come back. Then sometime in the beginning of 2009, she turned around a little bit. Her health became better. And she started coming out for movies. And we used to go out to restaurants and celebrating and all that. I bought a new car and all that, for which she really loved it. And, and I told her, let's go to some restaurant in Indranagar. I told her, you only suggested something, let's go there. She said, no, you bought a great, nice sedan car for the first time in your life. So let's go to Leela Palace, which is just behind my home. So she loved that kind of luxurious life, So I really liked it. She, again, I saw that again, once again, and they began to see the lively and affectionate Sushmita at that time. But her health was going bad, and she was taking all sorts of medicines, and she'd put on weight, and she was worried about that as well. And somewhere in 2000, once in 2009, I remember there was a Saturday, and I had planned to go to Hyderabad to take care of some personal work myself. I booked I could go by flight or train. No tickets were available, so I booked a bus ticket. So then that afternoon when I came back from work, she was, of course, Saturday they don't work. She told, you come back from work fast, she said. So I reached home very fast. I said, what is the matter? She said, you're planning to go to Hyderabad or something. You told me yesterday. I said, yes, I'm going. Can you not take care of yourself? She said, no, please don't go. And what happened that particular afternoon is, why she wanted me to come back is, she was going through one of those suicidal phases. Again, going to the rooftop and contemplating what to do, how to jump and all that. But fortunately, whenever she used to get this thought, a rational part of her mind would work and should call for help. She called me for help, and she called some friend of hers for help, somebody with her in road track. So that guy landed up and gave her company for a while till I reached home. She wanted somebody to be around so that she wouldn't do anything drastic. So then I canceled the ticket and I said, okay, I won't go. Stayed and then took her to another psychiatrist. And then again, the same thing kept repeating over and over and again. Somewhere towards, I think somewhere in the month of July, soon after her birthday, she resigned from Caregiving. She said, this is enough. I can't take this. I can't work in an structured environment. I do something on my own, but I don't want to work now. And 2009 was a particularly difficult period because that is the time when we had the recession and all that. It was not so easy to find a good job. But she said, no, nothing doing. I'm leaving. Not only that, she left her job and she told me, I'm also suffering from POCS. Okay, which is most people know what is POCS. Okay. And then I said, okay. And I'll go and stay with mother in Hyderabad because, it's a ladies kind of a thing and I'll be comfortable with her. I said, okay, no problem. You go there. But I'll keep coming here often, she said. I said, okay, fine. There was always this very close that bonding between her and me, But I would always come, you don't worry like that, she said. So she went to Hyderabad to stay with her mother. And she stayed there for 4 years. Yeah. 4.5 years, I think, 7 years nearly. 2016, that's when she passed away. But she would come here very often, stay for a month, 2 months, 3 months. Almost every Diwali, she would come here, do the Lakshmi Puja. And every Ugadi, which is a Telugu New Year, she would come here and celebrate. And that was really nice. Every time, every Ugadi, she would come and celebrate the New Year with me. It is so sad that when she passed away, that was also around the time of Ugadi. That's the final time she came. But only her ashes came this time. In 2016, Ugadi at that time. So yeah, that's how it went. But what I've noticed is there were many phases when she was perfectly all right. And during those phases, she would do a lot of wonderful things, like she would paint and she would take photographs. She wanted to become a wedding photographer for some time. And then she also wanted to make short films. She went for some training and all that. And then she wanted to write some novels, which is what I did. I completed her job. Okay, so that's what she got into all that creative stuff. And then once when she came one particular holiday stretch, summer, I think, she came home from Hyderabad and she saw a lot of travel brochures in my drawing room. She asked me, what are all these? I said, I'm planning to make a solo trip to Europe this year. And this is a Thomas Cook and this is SOTC. I'm trying to figure out which one to take to go on it. She took those brochures and threw them away. And she said, "Why do you need them? I'm here to guide you," she said. Yeah, then I remembered soon after college, she also traveled alone, not solo. I said, "Okay." And then she said, "Shall I come with you?" I said, "All right." In spite of ill health and all that, I took the gamble. I said, "Okay, if she takes her medicines regularly, and if she does something which she really loves, you know, this illness can be kept at bay." So we went on a wonderful 24-day trip to Europe. We traveled to so many places. We didn't take the help of any travel agencies except to book the ticket from India to this place, Frankfurt. Back. The rest of it, we did it on our own. You know, and that was what was really wonderful. And you know, always there was huge bonding between me and Shush. But I think during this trip, you know, she really got to know me very, very deeply, and what I went through and my life, everything. And she got very, very close to me, and I also got very close to her, understood her, everything. And it was a wonderful trip. And I think the book itself, out of the 225 or 30 pages, almost 60 or 80 pages goes to the trip to Europe. You know, I think that was one of the best periods in her life as well, because she enjoyed the trip and she was very cheerful. Of course, she would be moody and should go off track occasionally. And when I was planning to visit some museum or some place in the evening, she would call it off. She should say, "No, I'm feeling very tired. I can't go anywhere," and all that kind of thing. Those things did happen on our trips, you know. That's what I was telling my son, you know. About 25% of my trip didn't happen, I told him. He asked why. I would say she would always get tired in the evenings and she would call it off. He didn't say anything, he just smiled. You know. But then, you know, it was really worth it.
Sure.
And that was she, you know. Like somebody said afterwards, she lived every moment of her life. Through her illness, through her, you know, all that, you know, whatever she went through, depression and everything. And once she told me also, you know, people don't understand how bad it is. Once during her lucid moments, she said that, you know, this is depression. This whole thing is like you fall into a deep well. Where there's you don't even know how to get out of it. One part of you wants to get out of it. But most of it says, no, it's hopeless. It's almost like she was battling two demons within herself. 2 or 3 or multiple demons with, I really don't know what. But she said that's a thing nobody should get. That's a phase nobody go through.
So, you know, I'm reminded of the people that, you know, I have tried to support, and I just, you know, wanted to talk to you about that. So yes, thank you for bringing Sushmita into the room and telling us about the journey. And I totally feel her presence. I can totally visualize her. And thank you for that. And it must have been, it is poignant, and I can feel into what an emotional roller coaster ride it must have been as a parent. With feelings of, you know, helplessness, perhaps guilt, perhaps this whole desire to somehow fix things and make it easier. Help us understand. So, you know, it is you, it is her mother, and it is her brother. How were you all different? Because I suppose each person is different, right?
Yeah. Well, my son Sriram was a bit, I think, a more straightforward guy, more practical guy. He would not.
Yeah.
And there were times when he used to think maybe she was doing some kind of drama or not. I mean, afterwards, of course, it was really serious. but somewhere maybe she's exaggerating, and
Yeah.
he would always say, you and mother pampered her so much, that's why she doesn't have the power and strength to carry on and all that. So he had that kind of a view, Even now he says that. If only she was too emotional, if only she had a grip on her life, she would have managed it, all that. My feeling is to understand the depth of such ailments, Even the best experts in this particular field are unable to understand till now what are the fundamental causes for mental health issues.
Yeah.
They haven't found a very, somebody asked me and I said, yeah, the cure is, there's no such cure, but you can manage it and manage it in a holistic way. That's all I can say. So my son was in that kind of a trip. My ex-wife also did whatever she could, took her to various hospitals, and then more of a religious kind. So took her to temples and pujas and this and that. Okay, so all that she went that route as well.
Yeah. No, and understandably so. I think that happens in all kinds of situations that we don't think we have a control over. We do surrender to the higher power. Want the higher power to guide us and protect us. So understandably, but I'm just trying to help us understand. Now, you have been so incredibly brave, and we are so grateful for you to revisit your past. It's not easy to go over this again and again and tell your story. So first off, thank you for doing that. And for a family where people are different and each person has a different outlook to a certain circumstance, it can be quite challenging, right? It can be challenging to just synchronize among yourselves when dealing with something as ambiguous as this. Having gone through it yourself, if there is another, God forbid, but there are so many fathers, right? There are so many family members who are supporting their loved ones with depression. What would be some of your advice to them?
Yeah, first of all, I would say that, if there are family differences, like in my family, me and my wife, we are divorced also, actually. At least during this particular period, when the child is going through this, you must have some kind of an understanding for jointly taking. I mean, you don't have to be together, but at least you have a common approach for the treatment, If you have that kind of a thing, it works better. Sure. And secondly, even in families which don't have these kind of issues, both the parents must be on the same page.
Yes.
And amongst themselves, they should not get into their own arguments and approaches to treatment. Having a common platform would help. And also, I feel, on a larger scale, I think, holistic way of handling this space, And I think the best medicine, any child having this kind of a mental health issue is, love. A loving environment is the most important thing. Yeah, that's. I can only think of a movie called A Beautiful Mind. I don't know how many of you have seen this. There's this world famous scientist, John Nash, Nobel laureate.
Yeah.
He was afflicted by schizophrenia. And then it was his wife who was so patient.
Yeah.
And administered all those medicines and kept him under control.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, there's a reason that there is a range of experiences, and sometimes the most painful ones are fertile ground for our growth. That's what we can take solace from. So, Ravi, you mentioned something called holistic care. And I think sometimes that's not well understood. So,
yeah, I'll tell you briefly.
Yes. So could you help us and our audience appreciate and understand what you mean by holistic care?
Yeah, what I mean by holistic is, this is a kind of an approach where you're not just giving her some pills and some medicines, The psychiatrist obviously will recommend. There's also a kind of an environment you're creating at home and around the surroundings for her, surrounding area, home, family, her work area also. That if she's working, quite often they'll be working, all that. If some kind of people approach such people with compassion, it would help a lot. And not see, they're all people. Actually, they're all productive people. Unfortunately, I don't know. Technically, we can just take. What I mean is, all the people around her, band together, join together, and provide her a kind of an environment. That helps. In severe cases, I know there are some medical institutions like NIMHANS in Bangalore, and the place in Vellore, I think connected with Vellore Medical College. They offer a lot of holistic services.
Yeah.
This is what I understand. Yeah, that's what I mean by holistic services.
Sure. No, I absolutely understand. I think, and again, you have dropped a very important word. We live in a world with huge compassion deficit. So when we say compassion, it is perhaps misunderstood. A large number of people think compassion is just kindness. Compassion is not necessarily only kindness. But what do you mean by compassion before I get into my...
See, what I mean, compassion is more on being empathetic is all. The first step is being compassionate. When you're being empathetic, you can actually get into the shoes of the person who is facing this. The caregivers, for instance. Caregivers are a neglected lot. Nobody really fathoms what a caregiver goes through. And a caregiver, usually a family member, whatever he or she offers to the child or to the person who is undergoing the problem is unconditional. They don't expect anything. They only want the person whom they're taking care of to be happy, to be healthy, to be able to manage their lives.
Ravi, as you sit here today and you look back at those years, and I can only imagine. I can also relate to some of it. The sense that getting a call and hearing that somebody is contemplating ending their life, or something like that, can be hugely traumatic, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
And perpetually living on this vigilance, this, when will I get that call, or when could something happen, is chronic stress. And caregivers go through this chronic stress. I can't leave that person alone. I have to change my plans. I have to explain to so many people, and not many people will understand, etc., etc. How did you take care of yourself?
Yeah, it was like, fortunately, I didn't get these calls from Sushmita when I was working at office, except she would tell me to come and take me home. But more serious things like the suicidal thoughts, or, I no self-worth and I don't have any purpose in life, and, this all miserable, and those kind of calls I would get early in the mornings or in the evenings, and I would be at home. I don't know, the only way I could manage this when I used to get these calls was, I would just listen and listen and listen and listen. Even if for 45 minutes, 1 hour, 15 minutes also, I would listen. She would be crying on the phone. I think to some extent that helps. But very often when I used to listen to her, she would calm down. She would calm down, and sometimes the next day in the morning she'd call me up and say, Nana, I'm so sorry I troubled you so much yesterday. Nana is a way of telling daddy in Telugu, she would say so lovingly, she would say, I'll say, okay, ma, it's all right. Okay. But she would be aware that, but then she always needed me to, I think I was the shoulder on which she cried most of the time. My shoulders were there for that purpose.
Wow.
Maybe you should ask a little bit from Deepa. Deepa is also here, her cousin.
Yes, certainly. Would like to have Deepa here as well. Deepa, would you like to turn your video
Hey,
on?
hi, good evening, everyone. Wonderful to see Caregiver, Saathi, and wonderful to see you, Ravi Uncle. And thank you so much for inviting me on this forum. I would echo with his words. I would echo with Ravi Uncle's words about how Sushmita is still around us, and in particular, how she'll be very particular that we speak only good things about her. I totally echo with his thoughts. I mean, like, she would never allow anything. And she was like that, full of life, always, And one incident which I had with her about her mental illness was, she was stuck in Chennai airport and she was all alone in the airport. And I used to work for the media, so I just used some influence and go to see her. I realized the moment she looked at me and she was like, she said she was full, happy, and she just, hi. And then she just switched. 5 seconds, she forgot who I was. And we were there in the airport for close to 5 hours. And I
At that time when she came back from Andamans after that.
Yeah, she was traveling from Andaman. She was supposed to take a connecting flight, and thanks to the aircraft team, they said don't put her on a flight, to be on ground, keep an eye on her and all that. And that's, it actually, I realized, and she kept saying this, you are the answer. I think it is somewhere she was playing with her mind and she was thinking too much about life's answers or something like that. And she kept repeating, holding me, saying, you are the answer, as in we are the answer for ourselves, something like that, but then I had my moment of realization that one is mental illness and one is this physical illness. A lot of us give, if there's a pain in the hand or a leg, we keep thinking, I'm immobile, what will happen? But what happens when something is wrong here? People are suffering with this. Your entire body is unable to respond to what you're going through in the mind. So yes, I mean, Sushmita is my best friend. I've been just a couple of years. She's younger to me, but she's my baby sister, my baby friend. I know the last moments before leaving this world, how she spoke with me, and I still can't believe she's gone. Yeah, she's always around. But yes, I'm so glad Ravi Uncle is doing this, and that's why I make it a point to attend every session so that we spread this word. People are aware of this kind of a sensitive topic. And we go back long way back. As children, we used to write letters to each other. I still have her letters. Every year, every 2 months there would be a letter. And even if Ravi Uncle is traveling, she will write and send it so that we do. And those letters I treasure all my life. I treasure those letters.
Thank you for sharing your part of the story, Deepa. I do think, and we did have one question at the time of registration, which I'd like to present to both of you. As caregivers to someone who is navigating a difficult, ambiguous condition, it can be hard because we have a very, very interesting social conditioning, right? It can be hard to be consistently compassionate. How do you take care of yourself as well as be consistently compassionate? You, Deepa, first.
Yeah.
Consistently compassion I think it will come by default because it is your baby, it is your sister. No matter what, you know that she's mine and I have to take care of her. So it's a given, So being compassionate is a given, especially with your own.
You didn't find it falling short at any time?
Never, because I took my own share of guilt trips, because I know there were moments she would call me and I would tell her that it's absolutely okay to be wrong in this world. She would have those moments about when she was getting a divorce and things like that. So she's like, will people talk? I said, no, people will not talk. Don't worry. It's okay to have a divorce. It's okay to be separated. It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because so I know. So I've been there. Those moments I've spoken to her. And Monday morning she left, and Sunday afternoon she was chatting with me on WhatsApp. And I have to share this incident. And sometimes I think it helps me to share this incident about the WhatsApp conversation I had with her. We all have this silly statuses which we put. I'm usually very this thing. I never put a status. I end up putting a status saying, go find it. So the answer, the reason for putting that was all of us need to open and go find what we belong, where we want to belong and what we want to do, because we're always cluttered in the corporate world. So she asked me, what do you mean, go find it? So I said, yeah, it's all about opening new doors, going into newer places, going into, the newer world and seeing where we actually belong to, go find it. And next day she's not there. And I can't tell you what I've gone through. I said, why did I tell her that?
Yeah.
That's
if we were in a room together, I would have held your hand and perhaps given you a hug.
So I was like, why did I say that to her? And next day she just goes away, But yes, she's always been full of life. She's, academically so brilliant. We were always beaten up in the family saying that, look at her marks and what are you scoring and all that. And she was a very smart girl.
Yeah, I'm certain that it wasn't your WhatsApp status.
No, after that, I never put up a status. After that episode of April 3rd, 2016, I have never put a WhatsApp status, because we really don't know what each one is going through.
Yeah.
And then, you cannot be putting statuses and then, my intention was something else. And then, and especially losing her, I don't know.
I hear you, but I just wish you didn't take the responsibility for it.
Yeah, don't feel guilty.
No, I'm not saying responsibility, but she's a baby always, So
I hear you. Back to you, Ravi.
Thank you for this.
Yes, please stay on, Deepa. Ravi, I think that, there's a human side to us. And you can kind of say that, I will never give up on someone or I will never run out of compassion. But there are moments of feeling depleted and moments of feeling low. And the whole point of this conversation is humanize the caregiver experience. So how would you tell a caregiver that it's okay if you felt, you didn't have...
Yeah, I would tell caregivers also. There are times when definitely you would feel very frustrated, almost defeated, wondering what next, what direction you need to take. I think at that point of time, what you need to do, maybe you can take a small break also at that time. But you can always get back to the place where, who is this person for me? Who is this person? How is this person? Why? How valuable is this person for me? Just these two questions. And then you will find answers for yourself. The caregivers will get answers for themselves. When they just take a little break and then just reflect on, who is this person for me? Why am I being such a huge stand for this person? Why am I prepared to give my life, my time, my everything for this person?
Yeah.
At that point of time, some answer comes. There were many occasions when, when I was dealing with this kind of situation in Sushmita, I would always get some answer. And even on our journey also to Europe also, there were a couple of phases when things went a little difficult, like went haywire, like once she got stranded in a station and I went off. I was completely shocked, Fortunately, I went back and retrieved her and she was very angry with me and all that. That time I was praying and praying, telling, I hope nothing happens to her. I hope she's just sitting there and relaxing, Yeah, like that, these kind of things happen. And the one thing I want to talk about is from this trip, I remember during the early part of our trip, we went to Germany and we stayed at a place called Stuttgart. One of our German friends, hosted us. So Stuttgart is a place where they manufacture Mercedes-Benz. They have a huge, they have 2-3 plants there, and they have a huge Mercedes-Benz museum there. And this friend said, it's worth visiting. So we went to that museum and we saw all the beautiful Mercedes-Benz cars and all that. And then when we came out, she asked me, did you like it, Nana? She asked me. You guys are always crazy about cars. Did you like it? I said, I liked it. And I think you also liked it, I told her. She just smiled. She didn't say anything. She just smiled. And then I told this Mercedes-Benz is the brand in the world. And then I told something which she really didn't get it. I whispered to her, I told her, Sushmita, you are the Mercedes-Benz of our family, I told her. That's what I reiterate now also. She is a Mercedes-Benz of our family. You can see Deepa smiling there. Yeah. So that was one of the, memorable time, moments we had there, actually.
Well, certainly, I do think that she's the Mercedes-Benz, not just for the family, but perhaps for many of us, and for those of us who can love, who can learn from this and who can cherish the lesson of compassion, perhaps. I would like to take this moment to not just thank the two of you. I see some familiar faces in our audience. Raymond Saldana, how lovely to see you.
Hi, Raymond.
And Sunil Bandhu.
Hi, Bhavana. Hi, Professor Rajendra Bandi. Hi, he's there. Yeah.
Yes.
Dr. Rajendra Bandi from IIM Bangalore. Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Ravi. Wonderful listening.
Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Would any of you have any questions or anything to say?
I have no questions, but I just have a comment for what Ravi has been sharing with us. It's wonderful. Ravi has been sharing some of his thoughts for some time with me. I'm so kind of aware. He recently spoke to students at IIM Bangalore as well. So I just wanted to add that what Ravi was talking of as a compassionate support system. So it's not just the parents, it's not the siblings. Especially if you are a student, a significant part of the ecosystem for them happens to be the institution of which they're a part of at that moment. And most often than not, they're probably staying in a hostel, away from the parents. So the student support group is probably the most immediate support system. So that when you talk of compassionate support system, I think that's an important segment we should understand. And to a great extent, most academic institutes today are not kind of very prepared to handle these kind of situations. So what Ravi has been sharing probably is very important for academic institutions where there is this hyper competitive environment that prevails today, and how do not just the parents, how do academic system and other social support systems in these education institutes, how do we prepare ourselves to address these needs? We may have a health center to take care of the physical illness, but how prepared are we to provide the mental support? I don't know. And in the Indian context, I think most of the academic institutions are probably not really very well prepared And I think there's a significant amount of work that is to be done.
Yeah.
So, Professor Nandi, thank you so much for saying that and, bringing that to the fore. I would love to absolutely get in touch with you subsequently because we have developed a series of programs. There is nothing like an institution being compassionate and providing the resources. And we would like to work with a variety of educational institutions as much as workplaces so that we can create the necessary skills. There is a capacity building task. And I hope to be in touch with you to be able to do that.
Sure, definitely. Yeah. I've heard about you from your cousin, Gauri. This morning she was talking on one of our WhatsApp groups. She mentioned that you are her cousin, so would definitely get in touch with you.
Good Lord, it is a small world. Okay.
He was my batchmate, yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Rajendra is also an Excel alumnus.
Aha. My God, I hope, I sometimes worry about these things because you might know other things that I don't want the world to know. But thank you. Thank you for being here. To be in touch with you. And Mr. Bhaskaran.
Yeah. Very good evening to one and all.
Yes.
It's a wonderful program. And I know Ravi Krishnaswami since 1975 or 76. And he joined as Industrial Relation Officer at Indian Overseas Bank. At the time, he used to move very friendly with all our IOBNs. We had a very nice time. Then afterwards, he switched from Indian Overseas Bank to, I think, Standard Chartered Bank or some foreign bank he went and some other job. And we lost touch, actually. Though he was in Bombay for some time. At the time, I was also in Bombay, but we couldn't meet personally. And after many more years, only for 3-4 years back, he organized a program in Chennai, where all IUBNs who worked with him during 75-76, we all went to his the program. And he gave the book also, which is around 200 pages plus. And I read it fully. Actually, I underlined many parts also. So I put my mind and heart together and I read it. It's a wonderful, the journey of father, genuine father who loves his daughter so much. And he explained, he described, and it is unfortunate this has happened to a nice person like Ravi Krishnaswami. And one thing which he can console himself, he was very close with a daughter when she was suffering, without showing his distress or anger or his busy schedule. He very closely attended her. That I could see. And another thing is, he wanted to go alone for Europe tour. Only God only made her daughter to come and see his ticket, and don't do it from Thomas Cook or Cox and King. I will take you. So this Europe experiences he narrated around 50-60 pages in that. So this is this definitely God only made him to take her daughter and enjoy. So each and every incident he could recollect and spend the rest of his life. And whenever you see Mercedes Benz, you can remember his lovely daughter. And so many incidents. He went to the hotel. He was telling about Leela Palace, how he went. So he's got so many incidents, so many places, so many objects are surrounding him, where he can think about it and enjoy, not to feel sad.
Yeah, definitely.
And definitely what a message which Even now we are in a small WhatsApp group. We used to interact and used to participate. And he's very, he's normal. That's what I call it. He's normal. When you move with others, he's very, same as ever smiling face, and always talk nicely with the people. That he continues from the 1970s. What he was having, same thing continues. He never got very upset and went into the shell, or upset and lying down and growing a beard. Not like that. He's enjoying the life which God has given to him, like others. As an advice, if such a situation, definitely some people may be facing, my viewpoint is, what such situation, when they got some problem, psychological problem, the parent should be together and console and take care, enjoy, and they should confident, we are for you, we are with you. And also, he was telling she was not taking the medicine also sometime. Such things we should not leave it. As a parent, it's our duty to take as a parent, we should take care of the baby, which is in normal health. So it's our duty to take care and ensure.
Bhaskar, one about this medicine. No. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, tell me.
Medicine thing. You know, giving medicines to people who are afflicted with this kind of a situation is perhaps one of the biggest challenges.
Oh, okay.
Most
maybe I say.
This is not like
I'm not in the situation. Maybe I'm telling from outside. You are maybe right.
No, this is not an ordinary illness. You know, this is something to do with mind. And always anybody who's having some issue or mental health issues, especially paranoia, schizophrenia, they get very suspicious of any medicine. In fact, sometimes they won't even eat food. They will think that they're getting poisoned. She went through that stage also. That is the biggest challenge, you know. So what many people do is they mix the medicines with food and give it. Even we have done it. But sometimes these people are so sharp, they'll notice the difference in the taste also. That is perhaps one of the biggest challenges for caregivers.
It is not possible to convince. It is not possible to convince them.
No, you can't convince people who are dealing with these kind of issues. It's not so easy.
As a layman, I talk. Sorry, as a layman outside,
I understand,
because we should have been protected. She should live with you in that anxiety. I'm telling. No, we should take care.
No, I understand your
in that anxiety, in that affection. I'm talking. So
I got you. I got your. I got your commitment here. But then that's the way.
So it's my job right now to interview and say that yes. I think not all of us understand it. Sometimes we say things out of love and concern. But I thank you, Ravi, for stepping in, because I think that it is important to highlight and make people aware. There are circumstances in which parents and family caregivers are totally helpless. Sometimes the patient themselves are totally helpless. And it's a difficult one to understand. I appreciate the love and concern. And I do think that this is an example of how we can help create new understanding. So thank you for your grace, Bhaskaran, and thank you for your clarity, Ravi. I would like, this conversation to keep going on. It is so important. And yet it is time. We have overshot our time.
I know, that's what I was about to warn you. Bhavana, can I have a minute or two, please?
Yes, most certainly. I would like to, I wanted to kind of bring this to a close and invite you to give your closing remarks.
Thank you, Bhavana. So first of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share with you about with you a Caregiver Saathi organization about and also the guests who come here about my life with my wonderful beloved daughter and the book which I wrote about her. Thank you so much. I really don't know how to thank you, but I just say one single thank you like this. That's all. And for all of you, once again, thank you once again for coming here and encouraging me to speak out and also sharing with me what you got out of this conversation. Thank you so much. So that is my acknowledgement to everyone here, and also to Dishari, Bhavana's person there from Caregiver Saathi. She has been supporting me for the last 2 months along with Bhavana and organizing this. Thank you so much. Okay.
My pleasure, sir.
Yeah. And then one request is, I have this book, One Smiling, A Father's Tribute, which I wrote. It's a labor of love. That's what I call it. So I know most of you have already got a copy of this. It is still available on Amazon and Flipkart. So my request is, in case you have not purchased it, please order a copy. This is only 350 rupees. All the money is getting donated to 2 NGOs here in Bangalore for their worthwhile purposes. And more than the book, it has got a particular message, the message about removing the stigma attached to mental health. I want you to join me and people like organizations like Caregiver Saathi in actually getting rid of the stigma attached to mental health issues. That is my mission in life. Long after this book is sold and everything, I still will continue to fight against the stigma attached to mental health issues. And that's my promise to the world. And this is something which my daughter has bestowed to me. It's her gift to me, I think, to stand in this world and to be compassionate and to see that, the stigma attached to this is removed or at least reduced considerably. So that's what, with these words, I'd like to conclude my talk or interactions, conversations with all of you. It's been a sheer delight. And Deepa, thank you for coming here and being here, talking so passionately about your cousin sister. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And Professor Rajendra,
Thank you, Bhavana.
Raymond, and everyone here who come, and Bhaskar and my old friend from Indian Overseas Bank, all of you for being here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I would like to just echo. Thank you, everyone. Those of you who joined in right now, synchronously online, and those of you who will be seeing this, later. Thank you very much for, understanding, participating in this. Write into us. And should you have any questions, we do conduct support group meetings for healing circles, for families and caregivers of those who may be navigating difficult illnesses, things that we may or may not know enough. So we encourage you to join these support groups, these healing circles. And Raymond, well said. I think sometimes, so we are all caregivers, we believe. It is not just family members. And friends, we are caregivers and sometimes we just need to get authentic information so that we can support each other. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Lots of love and light to each one of you, and stay in touch. Be well.
Thank you.